No business, especially innovative one, can develop promptly without financial inflow. To attract money, small and medium businesses are using different mechanisms, one of which is listing on stock exchange. Moscow Interbank Currency Exchange is a major Russian trading floor. It was created in 1992 exclusively for currency trading, but in a few years other floors started opening on the basis of MICEX.
While there's no market, it's impossible to tell how much a certain product costs. In the absence of market relations, only bartering is possible. And when the market is formed, there appears an appraisal tool, that is, comparison of value, in this case, of companies. That's very important because without the appraisal tool, it's impossible to understand how efficiently the company works.
Stock exchange is a regulated securities market. The exchange itself does not hold, sell or buy any shares. Their price is determined by public demand and supply. In spring of 1997, first security trades started on MICEX, and many of these securities soon became blue chips, shares of mature companies of traditional economic sector able to operate profitably in good and bad times. But after a few years of work, it became clear in Russia there were few such companies and not all of them were eager to become public. To expand this group, it was necessary to create a separate floor for trading shares of small and medium businesses. This is the type of companies that includes innovation projects.
The thing is that there's always a special enclosure made for smaller ones. It's made so the youngsters are not afraid to feed with the elephants who could trample them. That's why a special floor was arranged to say, don't be afraid, come out onto the public market. There are more than just Microsofts and in our case Gazproms here, but others like you as well.
In 2007, MICEX got a new sector of Innovation and Growing Companies, IGC. But the following year's financial crisis started undermining operation of the new floor. MICEX had to seek support of the state and its development institutions. In 2009, MICEX, in cooperation with Rusnano State Corporation, formed Innovation and Investment Market (IIM) stock exchange sector for high-technology companies. The head of the Coordination Council under the MICEX IIM became Anatoly Chubais.
A regulated floor for investment in the innovation sector is, I believe, an absolutely indispensable, if not central component of the innovative economics infrastructure now created in the country.
MICEX IIM was formed on the basis of similar Western projects like London AIM and German Neue Markt. These floors had their specific features.
Usually it means certain privileges in listing, and at the same time, strange as it may seem, additional requirements and limitations which are necessary for the investor, in its turn, not to fear joining such companies.
MICEX IIM has two conditions upon which a company may become an issuer. It has to make its securities free-floating. Firstly, most of such companies' profit shall be gained due to the use of innovative and high technologies. Secondly, its capitalization shall be at least 50 million rubles. To get access to trading, the issuer shall provide an investment memorandum, a document describing major financials and lines of business development. There are special listing agents on IIM. They are responsible for truthfulness of information in the memorandum and appraisal of the company's capitalization. This should increase the level of the company's transparency and reduce investors' risks.
In the case of the IPO for small, innovative companies, an exchange mechanism is often used when orders are collected through special stock exchange procedures, auction or address orders, and, correspondingly, it makes the placement process more transparent. As a rule, such placements involve many retail investors, private investors who place their orders through broker systems, and sometimes the number of such investors can reach 580 accounts. Stock exchange floors are certainly one of the instruments stimulating demand for companies. Other ways of entering the market outside of stock exchange floors where placement is easy and cheap are rather limited. To tell the truth, the only way of commercialization for Russian innovation companies for many years has been sale to a strategic investor, a Western one in particular, because Russian investors showed no demand for high-technology companies.
Bank loans are often expensive or even unaffordable to small and medium companies because the business is based on intangible assets such as intellectual property, and there's nothing they can pledge. Venture and direct investment funds wish to buy controlling interest and get control over the company and consequently can limit business development. Sale to a strategic partner also means loss of independence. IPO in this case seems to be a natural and the only solution.
Public markets are, first of all, money. Immediate investments which you don't need to repay. If this is in the form of shares, it's access to bank financing, any type of loan, and all this is cheaper for a public company, and such a company costs more. Its growth is its capitalization. It's an opportunity to expand because the company gets currency for merger or acquisition.
To make the floor the most convenient for the innovative projects, the innovations and investments market has three segments. They are designed for companies of different maturity and capitalization and different groups of investors.
The first segment is the IIM board for the most immature, even startups, but advanced startups, so to say, for companies which are not public, but are eager to come to the public market in the future. Then there's IIM2, a floor for qualified investors, where securities are traded in the form of private placements and major batch trades. And finally, the crown of all of our evolution is IIM itself, where all trading tools for all other companies are used.
Investment society, however, is somewhat skeptical about IIM. Even exceeding of financials specified in the investment memorandum, as it happened with farm centers and R&T companies, is not taken by the market as good news and does not lead to direct growth of quotations.
The liquidity of shares is still rather low. That is, issue volumes are rather small for the market. That is, that even 500 million is not a big volume. And it's important to understand that some shares move to funds which hold them for several years, so those shares are in some ways off the market.
As the number of players on the market is not very big, a transaction with 2 or 3 dozens of shares can change quotations by several %.
After all, an investor who is investing in the securities of an innovation company is a so-called Belgian dentist, who has free money that he can easily invest for a long term and wait for substantial growth. It turns out that in our country there are few such dentists, and even if there were some, they'd prefer to keep their money in a bank and not to play on the stock exchange.
It may be said that innovation companies' markets are focused first of all on investors who wish multiple increase in income from investments during several years. Such strategy, dealing for a rise, is called bull speculation in stock market slang. Opponents of bulls, bears, are dealing for a fall. Opposition of these two animals symbolizes exchange trade. MICEX management once decided to take control over these animals.
A huge meeting was held, and a group of people were chosen to go to the zoo to find 2 animals, a bull and a bear. The bear was easily found, but as for the bull, 2 animals appeared to answer the description: the white-tailed gnu and the musk buffalo. The choice wasn't simple. In the end, they decided that the gnu wasn't good enough because its name sounded horrible and it had the bad habit of kneeling while eating. We didn't need such a symbol for the exchange trade.
To assess the current situation with the MII, it is worth to study the evolvement of the similar Western floors when they were at the same age, that is, how they operated when they were 2 years old.
The same aim. 10 years ago, there was nothing there. No one traded it, and no one needed it. Only after 10 years did successful examples appear. And now, all this works. Let me say straight away, we're not going to wait another 10 years. Everything will be faster. We, thank God, already have 18 companies.
A number of transactions already effected on IIM makes the future of the floor seem optimistic. Businesses trading their securities here include such companies as R&T, Farm Centers, UTNet, Bioprocess Capital Ventures. By March 2011, capitalization of MICEX innovation sector companies had reached $33 billion. In 2011, MICEX merged with another major financial player, Russian trading system stock market.
Of course, we're not going to abandon the IIM market after the MICEX and RTS merger. This market is unique. RTS had no such market before, so we're planning to develop it actively. We believe this powerful floor will be a magnet for liquidity and a magnet for investors.
Wishing to develop IIM, the exchange management is lobbying necessary bills. Thus, early in 2011, a governmental regulation was passed providing for partial compensation of IPO expenses. Amounts of such compensations are not great, but for small companies they are substantial. First compensations are expected by the end of the year.
One of the major tasks for our state is, I believe, to attract investments in the innovative sectors of our economy. The public market, the attraction of money to public, transparent companies is, so to say, a high road to the desired new economy. This is what shall be the national goal: the redistribution of resources from the oil and gas sector, God bless it, to this new high-tech field.
American NASDAQ, a trading space for high-tech companies, is one of the examples of such efficient redistribution. Economists from all over the world follow its index's dynamics. IIM is yet to achieve that, but MICEX representatives promise it's going to be a very quick chase.